Yep, I've stopped using batteries a while ago now, and I'm sticking with portable power banks, and you should too. In today's video, we're looking at the best portable power bank that I've ever used for shooting raw video on my Canon EOS M and the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera. We're going to break down this rig. I'm going to share my experience shooting with this portable power bank out in the field. I went to the beach, I went to a creek, and I've got to say, again, it's the best power bank that I've ever used on my Canon EOS M camera. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, Zeek here, hope you're doing well. Today we're looking at a new portable power bank that I've been using with the Canon EOS M and the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. Now, it is a 10,000 milliamp power bank, and the one that I've been using for a really long time is this guy right here. It's a Comsol Power Bank. You know, they're only made in Australia, it's an Australian brand, so you can't really get these overseas on Amazon or something like that. And that's not the point why I've got a new power bank. The reason why I wanted a new one was because putting this on top of my tiny little camera is just a little bit too big. I've also got a 20,000 milliamp of the Comsol, and it's just gigantic. So I wanted something a bit more small, and so I came across this guy right here, the Jupio Power Vault III, 10,000 milliamp PD, and gosh, this thing supports up to 12 volt, 1.5 amps. So it's pretty much powerful enough to power the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera. Can you believe it? And honestly, I've tested this camera shooting 6K resolution with the Comsol Power Bank. It's worked fine for about 15 seconds, and then the whole camera just shuts down. I think this supports 12 volt as well, 1.5A, but yeah, like I mentioned, it just shuts down after 15 seconds of 6K. And after testing out this new power bank, the Jupio Power Vault III, no dropouts. I can shoot 50 FPS slow motion 6K resolution B-roll on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K, and it does not shut down after even 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It's just a fantastic power bank that, you know, I can use with a Blackmagic Pocket 6K. It's small and tiny. I don't need a massive V-mount battery on the back of this already heavy camera. I can just pop this small little tiny power bank somewhere on the top here, and I can just record for as long as I like. So first things first, obviously I'm using a small little tiny lens. It's a 7 Artisans 25mm f1.8. It's a native mount lens to the Canon EOS M, and it's a lens that I've been recommending for a long time. If you want to shoot YouTube videos, portraits of people, then this guy right here is going to do a fantastic job for the price with that f1.8 aperture. The cage that I'm using is a basic one you can get off eBay. I think it's by Nicey Rig. It's like the only cage you can get for the Canon EOS M off eBay or Amazon. So that's the one I'm using. I think it's about 40 or 50 bucks. On the top here, I've got a small rig clamp. It's a smartphone clamp, but you can put portable power banks on top as well. And you can see it's nice and snug. Now the problem with this top small rig clamp is that you can't put monitors, you can't put microphones, so that's an issue. So to fix this issue, I've put a small rig hot shoe adapter on the side here, and so I can put my microphones if I want to record audio. As for monitors, you still have room just over here for a monitor clamp if you want, or you can just put it on the side, completely up to you. But this is the rig that I use for just compact shooting, if I just want to go around, snap a few shots here and there. And I've got to say, after going to the beach and to the creek, I am extremely happy with how this feels. The power bank is as small as my Canon 11 to 22mm. It's a very small power bank, and it supports up to 12 volts. So you can power up, like I said, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. You can power up smartphone, Sony mirrorless 4K cameras, and my Canon EOS M. Now in a second, I'm going to show you some behind the scenes shots that I got with my Canon EOS M and Magic Lantern RAW. I took it out to a few places just to see how well the battery performed, you know, if the battery just died quickly or instantly out of the blue, or if there's any interruptions whatsoever. So I put it to the test, and I will show you those clips in a second. Now the fact that this is a 10,000 milliamp power bank, you're probably thinking, how long can it charge the Canon EOS M? Well, to put it into perspective, one of these batteries lasts for about, I'd say 45 to 1 hour. And this power bank is equivalent to about 11 of these standard Canon batteries, which are about 875 milliamps. So if you divide that into 10,000, you get about 11 or so. All right, so this is what the camera looks like in my hand with the power bank. And you can see the issue there. Now the issue is that the cable is very, very long, to the point you just have to wrap it around this whole thing in order for it to look nice and tidy or somewhat neat. So I'm hoping companies can take this on board. Make a smaller USB to DC out cable, please. It will just make a whole lot of, it will make a big difference, really. I mean, look at that. It's the best I could do. If you got better skills at folding things, let me know in the comments below, make a video about it or something, but this is the best that I could do. And I gotta say, it has served fantastic out in the field. You know, when you don't want to put a matte box, when you don't want to put monitors on top, when you want to just keep something small and light, then this is the way to go. In a small little pouch or a carry bag, then this is going to be a fantastic option. All right, so I'm just quickly taking it out of the clamp, and it feels very, very solid. It's not that heavy. It's about 199 grams. And like I said, it feels really solid in the hand. It's got a bit of a slippery feel to it. It's not metallic, it's a bit plastic. Here's a comparison between my old one here, the Comsol, and then the Jupio Power Vault III. I'll put on the side for you. Now the good thing about these power banks is that they both have these buttons. So if you click it on the Comsol, you can see I have 79% left. So it's telling me how much I have left, which is fantastic. I know a lot of them don't do that. And then on the Jupio, when you click it, it'll have about 4 dots on the side, and each dot represents 25%. So if you've lost 1 dot, then you've lost 25% of your battery so far. So it's not very accurate, but all in all, it allows you to have some indication of how much battery is left. Now on the front of these, you have a USB-A, an Android OTG port, and you also have a USB-C. So you can charge your phones, you can charge, like I said, the Sony cameras, Blackmagic, and the Canon EOS M. Now I've used the Comsol for a really long time now, and I absolutely love it. I'm still going to use some other cameras, but I'm going to have to say that if I had to choose one of these, I would go with the Jupio Power Vault III PD without a doubt. It's smaller, it feels just a bit better, and when I put it on top of my Canon EOS M, it just feels like it was made for it. It's just tiny, it's 199 grams. This guy right here feels a bit heavier. So it's an absolute win. And don't forget the fact that it can power my Blackmagic Pocket 6K. I can shoot 60 or 50 frames per second in those high resolutions and not get any, dropped frames or cutouts or interruptions during my recordings, which unfortunately I get with this Comsol Power Bank on the Pocket 6K. All right, so with that all out of the way, here is my experience, my real world test of the Jupio Power Vault III and the Canon EOS M and Magic Lantern Raw. Hey guys, Zeek here. Hope you're doing well. I've just been out and about testing the Canon EOS M with the new Jupio Power Vault III. It's a 10,000 milliamp power bank, and I'm going to put it to the test in different scenarios, shoot some portraits, landscapes with the Canon 17-50 f2.8 on a Metabones speed booster. The power bank I've been shooting for about half an hour now. I took it out to another location and it's worked flawlessly. It's the smallest one I own, so gonna see if there's any dropouts or anything like that, any issues I encounter, so I can share it with you guys. But let's go ahead, shoot some raw footage on the Canon EOS M. Let's go. All right guys, so my settings before we start is 1920 by 1080. We're in 2.5K 1:1 centered, and I've got 10 bits so I can record for a long time. Now the reason why I've set 1920 by 1080 is because I'm shooting 30 frames per second, which is what I've enabled in FPS override. So 30 frames per second, 1920 by 1080, and I'm in 2.5K 1:1 centered mode. Just gonna make sure I've got this going. So exposure is correct, they look fantastic, focus, and let's record. You can see it's gone a bit dark, but I'm going to capture some landscape shots of the rocks with the 17-55 Canon lens and see how I go. All right, let's get some low angle shots. I'm actually liking the variable ND so far, the Tiffin one. I can't see major drawbacks from this. All right, let's get that shot going. Alright, so what I just did there was just panning across, getting that nice, smooth, movie-like motion. It's 30 frames per second, so it looks a bit, I don't know, Blu-ray-ish or realistic, if that's a term. So I can see a boat coming across. I'm going to zoom the lens in, stop down the variable ND and capture it. I'm also checking my framing as I'm recording. All right, perfect. Continuous recording, absolutely perfect with this mode. All right, so I'm shooting at f2. You get somewhat a depth of field with this high crop mode. And we're shooting with the 17 to 55, 17 mil. Great posing, Ben. Excellent. All right, really, stabilized lenses are the best thing ever. The Canon 17 to 55 is remarkable. The variable ND is working as well. It's great. I can't see any color shifts so far. I'll let you guys know when I go back to the computer and start editing, but overall, this is a nice compact rig for cinema shooting. There's lots of wave noises and crashes and splashes and the wind's coming out. I'm trying to get some shots of the shells, some cinematic shots. I can see that Tiffen Pro Mist is really softening up those highlights. And I'm going to pan all the way up. Just pretty much panning my shots, getting that nice motion going. The 17 to 55 with the stabilization works fantastic. I did a whole video about this lens and I absolutely love it with the Canon EOS M and Magic Lantern RAW. The power bank is still full. It's absolutely phenomenal how good it is. I mean, this thing wasn't even fully charged and it hasn't dropped a battery life yet. It's still on 4 bars. It's just an amazing power bank for the price. And look at the size, absolutely tiny on this camera. Really remarkable. Now, if you don't have a stabilized lens, then I highly recommend you go find one. The Canon 15 to 45 is a nice, great, cheap budget option for the Canon EOS M if you want stabilized lens. The Canon 17 to 55 is an f2.8 lens, so you can get a nice shallow depth of field with the f2.8 aperture. And of course, the range, 17 to 55 mil is just so handy. All right, so what I'm doing now is stopping my lens down to about f6.4. I'm going to adjust the ND filter and see how I go from here. It's amazing what you do to get a shot. Alright guys, here's my screen. If I press the play button, you can see the shots that I've taken. You can change the frames. If you want to check if you've got any dropped frames, you can click exact or all. So this is what playback looks like. Hey guys, Zeek here, and I'm out in beautiful nature putting the mini EOS M Cine rig to work. We're going to shoot some Magic Lantern RAW footage and just see how this tiny cinema package works. It is a 10,000 milliamp, so it's got lots of battery life. And Jupio claims that this power bank right here is the smallest power bank in the 10,000 milliamp range. So I'm going to put that to the test, see how it feels in my hand, and I'm going to shoot a range of different footage in 30 frames per second, 1920 by 1080. Let's go. All right guys, so I'm keeping it like a nice small compact setup. So I'm using the Canon 15 to 45 kit lens. I've got a Tiffen Black Pro Mist to soften out the image, get rid of the digital artifacts, and I'm using a Tiffen variable ND filter. I'm going to shoot some footage of the rocks and water and see what I can create. 30 frames per second raw video. Let's test it out. It feels so good having this light set up for once in a while. I'm used to having big rigs, but just having something small and compact just to take out with you Just feels absolutely amazing. All right, so just testing the quality of this lens, 15 to 45. We're shooting 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second. This power bank is absolutely amazing. All right, so I have a nice beautiful stream here. I'm gonna get a landscape shot with a 15 to 45. And because I want that wide angle, I'm gonna shoot 15 mil. Just checking my exposure is set. And let's click record and pan down. Now I am being a little bit complacent here. The power bank, well, I haven't even turned the camera off in I'd say about 20 minutes now. It's still going, I haven't shut it off. I'm just walking around. I know that it's gonna last for a long time for this shoot. So that's a really good thing about power banks. You can rely on them to, work on for long types of shoots. Now before I record, I generally just observe my scene and just see, what really sticks out to me, what's interesting in this scene. All right, make sure that my ND filter is exposed correctly. All right, perfect. Now this is a great shot. You can take it in multiple ways, so you just got to move your camera around and see, which angle looks the best. I love finding shots that are like secretive, stuff that people don't really pay attention to. I'm just doing a simple pan, 30 frames per second. All right, so that's my experience with the Jupio Power Vault III and the Canon EOS M and Magic Lantern RAW. What did you guys think of the footage, by the way? That was all shot in 30 frames per second and 1920 by 1080 resolution. The Power Vault here didn't let me down, not one bit. I didn't have any dropouts. The battery life was still full, especially at the beach. It was just absolutely remarkable. And the weight, it's still lighter than my Blackmagic Pocket 6K, even my Sony cameras. It's still light, and that's what you want when you're shooting out with the Canon EOS M. So this is something that you might want to consider if you're looking for that compact option. But that's it guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.